one of our top stories of this weekend, actually. The race for the ANC Eastern Cape chairperson is heating up. The elective conference is underway in East London, but not without controversy. Some disgruntled ANC members have approached the courts in a bid to interdict proceedings. Oscar Mabuyane and Babalo Matigizela are vying for the top position, and eNCA senior reporters Aviwe Mtila and Siphamandla Goke are on the ground, and Aviwe Mtila joins us now with the latest. And so, Aviwe, part of what is fueling this apparent move towards the courts by some of the regions and branches of the ANC in the Eastern Cape has to do with who is present in the hall there where you are, what is called credentials. It's always, an integral part of the development and the unfolding of an ANC conference. Where are we in relation to the dispute around credentials, as well as the possible adoption by the conference of branch delegate credentials?
It's still an open session here, Bratul, as we haven't even gotten to those credentials. We've seen a number of speakers, including the national chairperson of the African National Congress, Gwede Mantashe, officially opening this conference here. We're still having messages of support from COSATU, the SACP, and then before this open session is closed, we're expecting the convener of the PTT in the Eastern Cape, Oscar Mabuyane, one of the contenders, to also just wrap up those messages, and then thereafter we go to those credentials. It is, of course, a bone of contention when it comes to the manipulated branches, more so in the Khubusana region as well as in the Chris Hani region. We know already that the Khubusana region, some members already heading to court in an urgent application for that matter to be heard. They say they don't want the branches of the Khubusana region to be part of the voting delegates here, which will of course have a bearing on the outcome of the votes themselves. I want to talk to someone, actually, Bratulas, who is part of the contenders here. Maybe not part of the two top contenders, Oscar Mabuyane as well as Babalo Matigizela, but a very key politician in the Eastern Cape, Mlibo Koboshiana. Thank you for joining us at eNCA Mdomkulu. But we hear the discussions happening at the background, and we believe that you may be joining one of the two slates. Maybe get us up to speed as to exactly what's happening.
Yeah, well, I can confirm that indeed we are having very concrete discussions. We've been approached by Comrade Babalo, and we are considering that discussion as the team this afternoon towards evening, so that we can give a response to that. We are to meet our delegations as well. We are approaching them across the regions to indicate what is the best for the African National Congress in this province, and that determination will be made soon.
Okay, Babalo Matigizela has approached you, but on what basis? What's the offer coming from Babalo Matigizela to you?
Well, we didn't discuss offers except to say they indicated that we need to realign our work to ensure that we deliver a conference in the province of the Eastern Cape that is very reputable, that is very unified. And indeed, we wanted also to ensure that there is credibility of the conference of the African National Congress. And also there is this renewal we are speaking about must find an expression in the conduct of members, of leaders. Therefore, we are to go and consult our delegations as well. Because I now realize there is no small number in this conference. Each and every number is important. Those who are believing that because of two big numbers, this conference is tight, and we must give support to the African National Congress to have a peaceful conference here. And on Monday or Sunday evening, we must all enjoy being participants in a conference of the 9th session of the ANC.
Definitely no small numbers, given that it's going to be hotly contested, more so between Mabuyane and Matigizela. I'm assuming Matigizela might have offered you a position in the top 5. I want to get to the intricacies of what he's saying.
Personally, I've already indicated that the offer is to the PEC to serve. I can't be prescriptive. That is not how we grew up in this organization. That you are negotiating how the organizational life must be, and then you are prescriptive of what you want. I don't believe that is fair, and I don't believe that is how the culture of this movement must look like, because things are descending. when we start to operate as if we are position pop stars, and I don't believe such. We need a coherent movement in this province. For what we wanted initially was for three of these groupings to sit down and prioritize the movement, the province, the society we are serving. All of us are a generation that can make things much more better in this province without causing more problems and pain to the organization that we so love.
Okay, there is also the matter of the High Court application around the members of the DW Khubusane region in terms of these manipulated branches. Will it have a bearing on this conference and even the adoption of the credentials?
Well, I haven't yet read what is contained in that court application yet. I've just seen it on social media. But I think the steering committee of conference, including the credentials committee and the PTT and National Executive Committee members that are here will provide adequate guidance as to how are we going to handle this situation. Indeed, we're supposed to listen to everybody. Remember, weeks before, there has been court order. And these are the things that we're supposed to take into consideration, that in a conference like this, we must have an ability and capacity, as well as potential, to resolve matters before they go to court.
I just want to get your thoughts on what the PTT says in terms of these questionable branches and them being allowed to vote and then those votes be quarantined.
Well, I'm not the spokesperson of the PTT. Unfortunately, I cannot pronounce on that one. I think the ANC spokesperson will be in a position to draw that line.
Okay, thank you very much. Mlibo Koboshiane, one of the three contenders, and as you heard, Bratulas, that he's now possibly jumping ship, joining the camp of Babalo Matikizela, who's coming up against one of his former allies, that is Oscar Mabuyane, as, of course, it's still the open session here, and, of course, there's that urgent court application also that looks at DW Khubusane region and whether that it should be allowed to be part of the voting delegation here.
Yeah, I think we got a lot out of that conversation, Aviwe. I think my suspicion, my big takeout from your conversation with Mlibo Koboshiane there is that he doesn't want to preempt and basically make the announcement on air until he has discussed with the delegates from the branches that have basically come out with a mandate to support his candidature for the chairpersonship of the ANC in the Eastern Cape. But it's quite clear that he is pretty much aligned with whatever the proposal is that is on the table. The words that he's using there, what is in the best interests of the ANC, and also serving in the Provincial Executive Committee without being prescriptive of in what capacity. I think we got a lot we can read between the lines there.
Certainly, Bratulas, a summary from Mlibo Koboshiane. Of course, he was going to be seen as one of those people that be the kingmakers in the Eastern Cape, given that he mentions himself that there's no small numbers when it comes to matters of this nature. But of course, now a clear alignment in terms of the discussions that have been happening behind closed doors. And now, of course, he's coming out saying that he has been approached by Babalo Matikizela, who's, of course, going up against his former ally, and suggestions that he will be joining that camp, not wanting to be specific on what position or whether he'll be in the top 5. But of course, you know that horse trading that goes on behind those closed doors, and of course, we'll have a clearer indication possibly after the credentials even have been adopted, which, of course, also another matter that we're expecting to go deep into the night tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. A long night ahead for you and Siphamandla Goke there in East London. That's eNCA's senior journalist, Aviwe Mtila. The reason I say it's going to be a long night for Aviwe and Siphamandla, just from, the indications that some of the branches may be heading to court, you can only imagine the fierce battle for the adoption of those credentials of who is inside the hall for the conference, let alone getting to the point of being a voting delegate. You can expect that a lot of discussions and conversations will be happening. So that's the one big takeout at this hour from the ANC Eastern Cape conference. But the second other one coming out of Aviwe's reporting in the last few minutes is that Mlibo Koboshiane is clearly now in a conversation, in fact has confirmed to be in a conversation with Matikizela to see if they can work together. What are the implications for the candidature of Oscar Mabuyane to continue as the ANC Eastern Cape chairperson? Continue to watch this channel and you'll find out from Aviwe Mtila and Siphamandla Goke.